Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good morning. It's good to see you guys back here again. We are back at it again. Morning inspiration and prayer. I'm so excited to be with you guys every single day. This has been one of the greatest experiences of my life. I can't even front. This has been one of the greatest experiences of my life. You know why? Because when you're obedient to God, when you're obedient to his purpose, you know that there's something on the other side of that obedience. I have to share that again. There's something on the other side of obedience that you can't even explain. I'm getting goosebumps because the Lord is going to open some doors, some radical doors. I'm thinking about some doors he's going to open for me, and I don't even know what they are, but I'm just getting excited about radical doors that he's going to open for me. And I'm excited about the doors that he's going to open for you. You guys are about to shift to a whole new level. Thank you all for rocking out with us, for sitting here with me, for listening to these words of inspiration every single day, for sharing this. I want you guys to stop right now, stop what you're doing, and share this post. Don't go another second without sharing this post. And it's important that we share it because we want other people to be transformed. And don't just share with just anybody. You have to have someone in particular in mind who is ready to go to the next level, who's ready to receive this word that is being spoken over their lives. Don't just say, "Oh, just watch this." No, have someone in particular that you want to share this with, because this word, that these words and these tools that we're sharing, is so specific and it's so necessary for people who really need it in this season. So I hope that you all are sharing this right now with at least two people who need to see it. I thank you guys for jumping on here. And anytime that we get on, I want you to just click that notification button. You can click the notification button for every single time that we go live so you don't miss anything. But we've been live here every single morning. I believe this is our third week. We are already in the third week of doing this, and it's my joy to bring this to you. Yesterday I talked about staying focused. And today I'm going to give you, I'm going to shift to something else because the Lord put something in my spirit, and he was showing me that that sometimes people are having a hard time in their communication with others. Like, we're having a hard time learning how to have tough conversations with people. And I do believe that's one of my gifts. I believe that might sound interesting enough, but I don't really have a hard time having a hard conversation with people. And that's just something that I've learned over the years how to do. It's nothing that I really just said, I'm going to take notes on how to do it, but it's something I had to overcome the fear of doing it. And many of us are in situations where we need to have tough conversations with people at our job, with people in our family, some of our friends, people at church, just no matter what. We're going to have these times where you're going to have tough conversations with people because typically most people are reserved, and we care too much about other people's feelings and not hurting their feelings. So we usually keep inside the things that are really bothering us or ailing us. And let me tell you, I know I have a lot of leaders who are watching this. If you're a leader, this is definitely for you. If you don't ever see yourself as being a leader or moving up the ladder as a leader, you may want to turn this off. This may not be for you. But people who are in leadership roles, leadership positions, and that also includes moms, dads, husbands, wives, you're a leader. You're going to have to learn how to have tough conversations. So today, I'm going to give you 5 keys for having hard conversations. I'm gonna give them to you. And you know, Jesus never shied away from hard conversations. Like, he never was like, I don't want to hurt their feelings, so I'm not gonna tell them about themselves. No. Jesus was never shying away from saying the hard thing. He was never gonna shy away from having the hard conversation. So here's the first key to having a hard conversation. You gotta lead with empathy. You have to lead with empathy. You have to lead from a place of, yes, which most people actually do, but most people kind of lead more with sympathy than empathy. So you're leading with sympathy when you're thinking about somebody's feel, how you're going to make them feel. But when you lead with empathy, you're going to have to actually put yourself in their shoes, right? To see, okay, what's going to be the best way to communicate. People who lead with empathy, they actually learn how to respond to a person a little bit better, because you can actually kind of reason a little bit more in your mind of how they're going to ingest what you're saying to them. And now you can start to take into account, okay, maybe I don't want to say it in this way, because if I were them, they're probably going to perceive it coming off as this. So always lead with empathy when you're having a tough conversation. Always lead from a place of, let me stand in their shoes a little bit before I actually go open my mouth to have a conversation with them. So lead with empathy. When you lead with empathy, you cannot really go wrong, right? You can't really go wrong. All right, so number 2, never have this conversation in a highly emotional state. I'm gonna say that again. Never have this conversation. When you're having a hard conversation, don't have it in a highly emotional state. So let's have a scenario here. You've got somebody who owes you money, right? They owe you money, a lot of money, or whatever a lot of money is to you. They owe you money, and you see them on social media. They just bought a new car, or they just bought some Jordans, or they just did something, and they owe you a significant amount of money. The time when you have that tough conversation probably is not in their comment section, even though I've probably been a little petty with people, but people typically don't owe me money because I don't really lend out money. But the time wouldn't be to get on their comments and say, run me my $1,000 back. Why? Because you are too highly emotional. You're in a highly emotional state. And typically when you're highly emotional, high emotions lead to being highly irrational. Typically when you're highly emotional, it's going to lead you to being extremely irrational, and lots of times you're never going to be heard, and you're not going to hear the other person. So you have to wait until the emotion is calmed down. Because if you're highly emotional, you can't lead with empathy, right? Remember, the first step is leading with empathy. When you lead with empathy, you're leading from that place of saying, let me put myself in their shoes. Okay, they bought this new car. Okay, they probably weren't thinking about the fact that they owed me money when they bought this car. They could not have been, right? When you go through that logic. So when you see them in that new car, you're like, but where's my money? Right? So you have to pull yourself down from your highly emotional state and get back to that number 1, lead with empathy. Because if you're leading from the highly emotional state, it's going to lead to you being irrational more than likely. Number 3, I like this one. I love to do this one. This is going to help somebody. This is going to help you, because I'm pretty sure that a lot of you all are not doing this. Ask leading questions. Ask leading questions. What's a leading question? So when you have that conversation with someone, you don't start off by ripping the Band-Aid off, even though sometimes you do go straight to the thing. You start off by just asking, hey, so this car, like, yo, how, what was the process of you getting that car? Like, start asking them questions that's going to lead you into the answer that you need for the conversation. You're going to have to ask them questions that are direct, right? So leading questions are very direct questions. Don't ask questions that are roundabout. I'm a person that asks, anyone that knows me, I ask extremely direct questions, and people can sometimes get uncomfortable because the question is so direct. But direct questions are leading questions. Typically, direct questions are answers that are yes or no. They get directly to the facts. So when you can when you ask leading questions and it gets you to the facts and the heart of a scenario, now you can begin to process things accordingly. Don't ask questions that are left up to chance or more opinion. Don't ask opinionated leading questions. Well, how do you feel about if someone, don't ask someone their opinion. if you're trying to have a tough conversation, don't ask about their opinion. Try to get things out that are factual so you can get the facts out, so you can get to the heart of the matter. If the heart of the matter is you're owed money, you have to ask enough leading questions that's going to get back to the point of, yes, on January 15th, 2020, I loaned you $685 and you have not paid it back. You have to ask questions that lead up to that. Don't let that be the first question you ask. And I guarantee you, as you begin to ask these leading questions, that person will say, this is about this money I owe you, isn't it? Right? Oh man, you know what, bro? Let's figure it out. Sis, I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't have. You're right. It doesn't look right. It does not look right. All right, this is what I'm gonna do. So asking leading questions gets you direct answers. It gets you direct responses. I hope this is helping somebody on today. All right. Number 4, listen. 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 You gotta listen. See, it's hard to listen in a highly emotional state. It's hard to listen when you don't ask questions, right? It's hard to listen when you don't lead with empathy. You have to listen. Listen. Here's why you listen. More than likely, in this conversation, this other person is going to have a perspective. And you want to hear and listen for their perspective, and then be able to communicate back to them what their perspective is, right? And as you're listening, you're hearing their perspective, you're communicating that back. So you can become clear in saying, this is what you're saying. I hear clearly what you're saying. I'm listening clearly to what you're saying. I hear it clearly, but now you want to throw it back to them with another clear question. Do you hear what I am saying? Do you understand me clear? So you don't talk back and forth over the person. One of the worst things that happens as we communicate with people is that the communication lines get crossed because we're not listening, right? We're not listening. It ends up being a debate where two people who want to be right, they don't want to hear the other person. A frustrating thing with me when I'm in conversations with people, and not necessarily having tough conversations, but if I'm having something that's a spirited conversation or a spirited debate, is that people are quick to be dismissive, right? But listeners don't allow people to be dismissive. A good listener would not allow for someone to be dismissive, because you're going to hear their point, you're going to spit it back to them, and then ask more leading questions so they can now say, well, I understand what you're saying. We may agree to disagree, but I hear you. I understand what you're saying. And as you become a better listener, it's going to force that other person to be a better listener. All right, number 5, you got to let clarity be the goal. You gotta let clarity be the goal. Not getting like what you want, not getting your everything that's on your mind, but clarity has to be the goal. What's clarity? Clarity is we come on one accord and everyone is heard and we come to a conclusion. So clarity is having the actual conclusion that is needed to resolve to move to the next level. We have to go into these hard conversations with clarity. Like, I want clarity in the end. I want to know where you stand. Like, even having hard conversations in relationships, you know, I'm grateful for the marriage that my wife and I have, and we have a very clear communication style with each other. But I understand that some marriages don't have that, and some marriages end and some marriages fail because there's no clarity in what's being said. There's no clear goal of being clear. One person wants to be right and the other person is wrong, but we have to come to a conclusion that we're clear about what we're trying to see. We have to come to the conclusion that, yes, I heard you, and yes, I know what I said hurt you, or you know, hey, when you said this to me, it bothered me, or hey, when you did this one thing, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I need to know what you meant by that. I need to know, and I need you to know how I felt when you said that. So I want us to really lock in on these things, because you know, having a clear communication style and being able to have hard conversations is going to take you to massive places. Don't underestimate these tools that I gave you. Don't underestimate these keys that I gave you. This is going to help you catapult your way up through the ranks in your company, in your school. It's going to help you in your marriage. It's going to help you be a better parent. It's going to help you be a better friend. All these tools are going to help you. Let's recap them. 5 keys for having hard conversations. Number 1, always lead with empathy. Number 2, never have the conversation in a highly emotional state. Number 3, ask leading questions. Number 4, listen. And number 5, let clarity be the goal. Let me pray for you right now. God, I thank you right now. I thank you for this day. I thank you for each person who's watching this right now. God, I thank you that some of us have had issues with our communication, with our friends, with our families, with our parents, with our spouses, with our children, with our co-workers, with our bosses, with our supervisors, our managers, our employees. Father, you see where the communication breakdown is happening, even with pastors and their members. Father, I just pray that you give us clarity. Let clarity be our goal. Let us walk away with a clear understanding and lead with empathy as we speak with people, and lead with love, lead with compassion as we have conversations with people that may be challenging, that may be hard, oh God, but you're able to give us the clearest communication style, oh God. And you're going to take our communication style and allow for it to multiply, and let our communication style allow us to be better disciples and lead us to better ways of how to disciple your people, how to disciple your children. In your name we pray. Amen. I hope that you all got something out of this. It was a little bit different. I know it was a little bit nuanced what we talked about today, but I hope that you got something out of this today. And remember, tag at least 2 people who need to see this. I'm excited to be in front of you guys every single day. If you want to be a blessing to this ministry of Illuminate Church, you can do so by going to our website, IlluminateChurchOnline.com/give, or simply go to our Cash App, $Illuminate Church. We appreciate your generosity, and we'll talk to you